then once he, I mean, look, I was going to save this for the main event of the Nagoya show. I'll say it here. There's nothing he can't do. And as a babyface wrestler, he is the total package. I mean, to me, he is a top 10 wrestler in the world this year and a borderline top 5 wrestler. It's something I really, really flirted with. He is, after this match, I believe he's at 15 matches for me at 4 stars or higher this year, which is more than Jackie Funky Kamei, which is more than Yuki Yoshioka, which is more than Shun Skywalker. He's the guy. And as a babyface in wrestling, he's become the gold standard. He is athletic. He is sympathetic. He is energetic. He is everything that I want. And Yuki Yoshioka has been an enormous success this year, just objectively from the box office, from an in-ring standpoint. Yuki Yoshioka, this experiment has seemed to work. I don't know if it works as well if he's not alongside Dragon Dia, who has just been everything that he's needed. Dia, to me, has become a borderline perfect wrestler. Again, he just does everything that I want out of a 1B babyface. He's never going to be that top guy. He might never even challenge for the Dreamgate title. But as a Brave Gate champion, as a Twin Gate champion, as a Triangle Gate champion, as somebody that can credibly headline a show and win or lose a big match against anybody, he is exactly what I want. He is a special wrestler who's going to be approaching, he just passed his 4-year anniversary mark, and he's only going to get better. Part of the excitement with him for a few years was, we would hear when we talked to Jay on this podcast, he told the story of Lenny Leonard showed Genki Horiguchi El Hijo del Vikingo clips, and Genki kind of shrugged and was like, what's the big deal? Dragon Dia can do all of that. Like, he can do more of it. I mean, I talk to people that have known Dragon Dia on a personal level. They're like, dude, you don't understand what this guy is. Like, he's just next level. For 2020 and part of 2021, the appeal of Dragon Dia was the potential that we're seeing. And it's not that he has become this Rey Mysterio Jr. level high flyer where he's constantly blowing our minds. He's become this world-class technician, this world-class, well-rounded wrestler that never misses a beat. He's never in the wrong spot. He's never doing anything that isn't great. In both the Doi match here and then the main event of Nagoya, it was really on display just how good of a wrestler he is. And, again, he's just one of many in this promotion. I think any company in Japan or North America or Europe, wherever, anywhere across the world, they would kill to have a guy this talented on their roster.
And it's something, Case, that we didn't really observe it when it happened, but we are past the 1-year anniversary of the double mask match. And you look at all the work that led up to, like, with how snake bit Dragon Dia was, basically, up until he came back into Masquerade for good, Dead or Alive 2021. Like, it was something where it just constantly was one thing or another, but since he came back for good, he has been on a tear. And ever since, I would say Dragon or Dia Infernos are popping up. So we're talking about November 2020.
Yes.
The work there for sadly, the feud kind of got prolonged longer than I think everyone was expected, but they were able to, over time, maybe the time actually worked out in the end, that we then looked up February of 2021 at the most startling result in a Dragon System of Quest of all time and be like, wow, they did that with Dragon Dia. I don't think anyone could have expected after that double mask match that Dragon Dia would not just become this like next generation 1B character, because that's what he is. I mean, when he debuted, I always harped on about the fact that he is a dragon and what that means. We're seeing that in action now. And we're seeing that with him unmasked, weirdly enough. And it's something that, like, I thought of him always like, okay, you're going to have to be like the Dragon Kid like figure. But losing the mask, like, it's something where I know, Case, you say you've said that he might not even challenge for the Dreamgate title. I'm now in a position where I look at Dragon Dia, take a step back, and I'm like, you don't have to make too many weird scenarios for me to completely buy in and a future where Dragon Dia is Dreamgate champion. You're not going to have to twist my arm too much to get me to believe in that.
Oh, he certainly has the potential. He's he's a small guy on a roster full of small guys, and it's sort of the SB Kento theory where if he was 3 inches taller, he might already be Dreamgate champion. If Dragon Dia was 3 inches taller, I think the same thing could be said. I think instead Yuki Yoshioka won the Dreamgate belt. I think that's the reality of Dia's height compared to Yoshioka's height. But he is, the mask versus mask match last year was one of the most shocking results, maybe the single most shocking result in Dragon history. I never would have expected a dragon to lose their mask, and then for him to do it, and then this plan, and we'll talk about this again in a few weeks when we kind of recap the year. From the first Korakuen Hall show, they made it so abundantly clear this year is going to be about Dragon Dia, it's going to be about Yuki Yoshioka. And you look at where we are now, most people listening to this December 14th, oh my God. I mean, they've done it. It's worked. It's great. Houses are up across the board. They're crushing it in all of their main markets. This is an overwhelming success, and it speaks to just how talented the guys in D-Courage are.
Yeah, it's something that has been really special. But Naruki Doi case. Naruki Doi, now he is free. Did you see? I almost sent this to you, but I figure you already caught it. Did you see Ultimo's Instagram post about Doi?
Oh no, I didn't. Let me pull this up.
Yeah, it was a couple days ago. It was, I think, after the Korakuen show, so it was last week.
I thought this is a quote from Ultimo Dragon on Instagram. I thought Doi had left Dragongate, but I was very happy and surprised to still see him here.
Hey,
Ultimo Dragon, funny motherfucker.
You know, I think sometimes he switches to English for a reason.
And then sometimes he no-sells English for a reason.
Right, yeah.
It's incredible.
Case, I think I'm ready to, you know how we didn't really match of the year watch did not really take off the way we thought. I have been in the Spears Ovation Meteorological Labs, and I think we're ready to declare a watch here going into 2023.
With Doi versus Yoshioka?
That is correct. I am officially my antenna's up, case. I'm gonna be like sifting every single tea leaf possible, because I think that we might be in a world where, like, with everything that with Doi, like this, why not have him built up when he's around for a Dreamgate shot and cash it in on Champion Gate?
So if you look at Yuki Yoshioka, who's doing the gimmick of he wants to wrestle former Open the Dreamgate champions, and you look at the list of guys who are available, meaning not Shima and not Masato Yoshino and not Shingo, I think that's pretty much everybody who's off the list.
Liger, probably not.
Liger's not there. You're right. I left Liger off. Other than that, I think I've got everybody there. So the list of available names, if they want to continue this gimmick, the list of available names that he has left. He has Ben-K, who is wrestling at Final Gate. He has Kai, Shun Skywalker, BB Hulk, Susumu Yokosuka, Susumu Mochizuki, one guy there, but two names. Don Fuji, Ryo Saito, Magnitude Kishiwada, Naruki Doi, and just to help me get through the day, I wrote down Pac as well.
I mean, you know me. I'm right now looking at a Pac action figure. The only wrestling action figure I bought as an adult was Pac's.
I bought a CM Punk one a few years ago, and I am not against buying a Pac action figure if the opportunity presents itself.
Hey, who knows that the only other time I would be able to get a Pac action figure, as Pac,
Yes, exactly. So there's a list there, and obviously the Ben-K match is happening. I think it would be extremely foolish to not do the Shun Skywalker match. Outside of that, I think Fuji's a realistic possibility, especially, given some stuff that went down this weekend. I think, he already beat Kai. That's right, he beat Kai, so forget him. I don't think they're going to do Yoshioka versus BB Hulk. That seems like it would be a mistake. I don't think they're going to do Yoshioka versus Susumu Mochizuki. So you're looking at a point now where it's Shun Skywalker, which I don't know about you, Mike. I think that match is too small for Champion Gate. I would almost be disappointed if they did it there.
With how Doi has been marginalized on before his exit, I think that's kind of where you can trust it.
Is doing Yoshioka versus Doi at Champion Gate, and then hypothetically doing Yoshioka versus Skywalker at Dead or Alive.
Yeah. That would be my path.
I'm there with you. You can't ignore the fact that Doi just pinned Dragon Dia. That is an uncommon occurrence, and it caught me by surprise. And it's again, like we talked about with the booking of a rookie and Kato. That's not an accident. That's something you have every right to have your antenna up based on the result of that match. And you look at the names that are available. It's not going to be Yoshioka versus Sumo at Champion Gate. Let's cross our fingers and hope to God it's not going to be Yoshioka versus BB Hulk at Champion Gate. The GM's not going to give himself a title match, and Magnitude Kishiwada's not walking through that door. You're running out of guys here pretty quick, and Doi is somebody that is not going to embarrass them at the box office. He can fill that small Osaka building. And then from there, and this is kind of what I want to expand this conversation into, I think we're looking at a title run here that could very easily go over a year. I don't know where you stand on the Yoshioka run. I'm not ready for it to be over at all. I think, going into the Ben K match, it's about 70-30 Yoshioka favored. But if he gets through that, this is somebody that I could see holding the belt at this time next year.
It would be... There's one person that I see immediately coming in and taking the belt. Like, as soon as they come in, they take the belt. And that's SBK, if SBK returns with a face turn.
So let's throw this out there, because we're going to talk a lot about the Nagoya market in just a second, and that has become SB Kento country in the same way that for a long time, obviously Ultimo's from there. Ultimo owned that town. Dragon Kid's from there. Dragon Kid owned that town. It's now become SB Kento territory. We know that he's in North America through the end of the year. We reported on this show that U.S. indie promoters have a chance to book him through New Year's Eve of 2022. We don't know his return date to Japan. Is it realistic to say that whether he comes back at Dead or Alive and ends the show confronting Yoshioka, or he is back by Dead or Alive and ends the show confronting Yoshioka, that they pivot from former Dreamgate champions to SB Kento saying that he wants to forge his own path and challenge Yoshioka for the belt? And that's, to me, not an unrealistic Kobe World main event?
I mean, eventually, there'll be no more Ghost to conquer.
It's a shorter list than people realize. Again, especially if you... Let's say we're going to avoid that BB Hulk match, and just given the way that Susumu Mochizuki has been treated since
and
the
Fuji.
The thing with Fuji is that, this came up during the Nagoya show, where he was talking about how, and I completely forgot this, he was supposed to have a Fuji unit with Hyo and with Yuki Yoshioka, and I think with Katsumi Takashima was the third name there, and Yuki Yoshioka, in the match leading up to that angle, blew out his knee and had to get knee surgery, and then so the unit was scrapped. I can't shake that they could do a Fuji Cork and Hall Dreamgate match. It's not realistic, but I also can't rule it out.
Yeah, I guess. It's something that, it'd be his first Dreamgate match in 6 years at that point. And it's something that with the Torimon generation, we're seeing that more and more like this, that there's just kind of like a line in my head where, like, basically, if you debuted before Ryo Saito, I don't expect you to get another Dreamgate shot unless you are Masaki Mochizuki, like Susumu. I felt like we saw Susumu's last title shot. I think,
at least for the time being, I think it would be too quick to cycle him back into that fold. It's no different than the way that Masaki Mochizuki has been handled. We're told every time he wrestles at the Dreamgate, this is it, this is the last one, this is it, this is the last one. We finally hit that point with Susumu Mochizuki, and it's going to take about a full calendar year for that to reset.
Maybe two. But it's something where eventually there will be no more Ghosts of the Past to conquer. And unless it's SB coming in and they're immediately doing that with SB, I do think we are in for a longer Yoshioka run. You look at how basically since Yamato dropped the belt, there's been a couple like 6 to 9 month run reigns, but we have not had a long Dreamgate run, like one of those like defining Dreamgate runs since 2017. Like, it's about time for one of those.
So again, to reiterate, I think the realistic path forward, he's got the Ben match at Final Gate, which it's not impossible for Ben K to win that match. I do think Yoshioka is still the favorite, but
I would say that this is the first one that there is a realistic possibility.
Look, like we talked about last week, Ben K might be the single most over wrestler in the company right now. He's red hot, and if you don't realize that, you need to. That this gimmick, it's funny, for so much of Ben K's career, there was the narrative that the American or the English speaking fan rather was more into Ben K than the Japanese fan was, and that has flipped with this gold class gimmick. I don't think everybody fully realizes just how over Ben K is in the buildings, and if you need proof, go back to the end of last week's Cork and Hall show when Yoshioka unboxes that rose and the Corkin erupts. I mean, like a normal cheer comes out of that building. So you've got him at Final Gate. And then if you go down the list of guys that can still realistically challenge for the Dream Gate, I think it's Doi and I think it's Shun Skywalker. And I think that could be Champion Gate and Dead or Alive right there. And if it sounds unrealistic to say, well, this is Yoshioka's first run as a Dream Gate champion, I don't think they're to give him the belt that long because, you look at somebody like the way that New Japan books where Gato loves that first title run and then a quick loss to establish that they can be world champion and then their fight to get the belt back. But if you look at the history of Dragon Gate and the way they've handled their first Dream Gate champions, Mochizuki's first reign, 323 days. Yamato's first reign, 449 days. Yoshino's first reign, 277 days. BB Hulk's first reign, 329 days. Shun Skywalker's first reign, 259 days. As we sit here the day we're recording this, Yoshioka's been champion for 137 days. I can see that being doubled. That would not surprise me if we head into Kobe World and he's champion still, and it wouldn't surprise me with the law of the land right now, with the lay of the land rather, if he leaves Kobe World 2023 as champion. Now, a million things are going to change. For all we know, Yoshiki Kato could take the belt from him in Champion Gate in March. Right? Who knows what's going to happen? But I think we at least have to wrap our heads around the idea that Yoshioka could be champion for a very long time because it's working at the box office, it's working in the ring, and for the first time in a long time, we have a Dreamgate champion where I'm not antsy for them to lose the belt. I'm not antsy for them to lose the belt, and I'm not antsy about what's coming next. I feel like even if they run the course on former Dreamgate champions, there's a path forward with the young guys getting their first shot at the belt, and I think that's super interesting as well.
Now, here is the 1% question. Yuki Yoshioka is 28 now. Does the reign continue when he's 30? Will he be holding a continuous 1% chance? So this is like moonshot here. So just so that we have his exact age on hand right now, he will turn 30 on September 14th, 2024.
So that's a 2-year run with the belt. I don't see that happening.
You don't think they might want to take care of that one thing in the record book that's kind of looming?
I feel like that's SB Kento's job.
Fair enough. Valid. Totally valid.